Also known as a garden composting sub-tower, a worm tower is a low-tech, cost-effective way to turn dead soil into living soil. If you prefer great-tasting, nutrient-rich food, a thriving garden that requires less watering, and well-aerated soil full of healthy bacteria, a worm tower may be just what you need. Follow these simple instructions to make your own. Here are a few of the tools you'll need to get started: a marker, a ruler, a drill with a 1/2-inch drill bit, a narrow keyhole saw for wood, a small round file, and a shovel. The shovel isn't pictured. You'll also need 2 standard 5-gallon buckets. Use 2 new buckets of the same brand if you can, a suitable cover to fit over the installed buckets. In this example, a 12-inch clay saucer is being used. And 3 cups of composting worms. Red wigglers or African night crawlers are good options. Tunneling type worm species typically found in the garden are not the right variety for your worm tower. You'll also need about 6 gallons of mature compost. Begin by carefully sawing a notch in the bottom bucket to remove the handle. Then mark the bottom bucket for 32 holes, evenly spaced approximately 4 inches apart. There should be 8 holes in the bottom and 24 holes on the sides. Drill each hole with the 1/2-inch drill bit and use the round file to smooth the inside of each hole. If you flipped it over, the bottom bucket would look something like this at this point. Now, using the drill and keyhole saw, remove the bottom of the second bucket. Remove the handle like you did with the first. It should look something like this. This approximately 11-inch cylinder should fit tightly into the bottom bucket, like this. If it's not a tight fit, you may need to cut some grooves in the top bucket. A few cuts around the bottom, spaced evenly apart, should create a snug fit. Both buckets put together should look like this. You may need to file the edges of the top bucket so that the saucer can rest nicely on top. Next, identify the bed most central to your garden. This is where you'll dig your hole. Use a shovel or a post digger. The hole should be 16 inches in diameter and 22 inches deep. Keep the topsoil and subsoil in separate piles. If the subsoil is very difficult to dig, consider using only a single bottom bucket design. Place 3 inches of compost in the bottom of the hole and position the worm tower in the center of the hole. The top of the tower should be close to ground level. Place 7 inches of compost on the inside and outside of the bottom of the tower. If you are going to use starter worms, add about 3 cups around the outside of the tower now. Then fill in the hole around the tower with topsoil. The tower is now ready to receive vegetable residue and other waste. A suggested guide for filling the first 5 gallons of residues is 14 quarts of mixed green items in the bottom, 3 quarts of carbon sources, 2 quarts of fruit portions. Try to keep the fruit portions under 10% to avoid attracting insects like soldier flies in the summer. And a 1-quart mixture of eggshells, coffee grounds, tea bags, and other miscellaneous waste. For best results, use clean vegetable and fruit residues, relatively free from disease and insects. Maintain these suggested ratios when adding more waste, and avoid onions, garlic, tomatoes, peppers, citrus, as well as meat and milk products. Worm health can be improved by adding about 15% weekly of one or a combination of the following: shredded paper, dry grass, or straw to provide carbon. 1/4 cup of organic poultry or vegetable meal fertilizer could also be added monthly as a nitrogen source. Ideal months to start a worm tower are March and April. Once the habitat is established, make periodic visual checks to make sure the worms are thriving. The residues may need to be sprinkled with water during very hot and dry periods. Try to keep the bed covered with crop or cover crop vegetation year-round if possible. When a plant canopy is not present, 4 inches of straw or hay mulch can act as a protective cover for the tower. If you want to install more than one worm tower, consider placing them 3 or 4 garden beds apart. Your new worm tower will feed and multiply earthworms to populate a garden area of up to 1,000 square feet, protecting young worms and cocoons from animal predators in the process. Enjoy this simple yet effective means of home composting that improves soil fertility year-round.